hope you guys are having such an amazing day today. And welcome to our March Spotlight. We are so excited. You're going to hear some amazing gems, an amazing owner, amazing business. We're going to dive into it today. So definitely stay tuned. You're going to hear the story, the brand, as well as some fun Q&As to kind of get a deeper understanding of the business itself. So before we start, my name is Tysheda. I am the founder of Luxury Travels by Dreamy Designer Events, where we curate elite travel worldwide and we facilitate retreats so that you can rediscover, reconnect, and reset your life so you can come back a better version of yourself. And on to you, Star.
Thanks, Ty. I'm Starah Dixon, founder of Mitsu's, where we bring attainable luxury and intentional design to host tastemakers and businesses looking to curate unforgettable spaces. Today, we're excited to introduce you to Nichole Healy, co-founder and CEO of May, with a background in business, accounting, and system implementation. Nichole has, see, there's a lot, but Nichole has turned her expertise towards something deeply personal, helping families organize, preserve, and protect their most cherished memories. Nichole, we're so ready to get the audiences involved in both your journey and May, so the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you both so much for having me here and for, putting together Authentic Ambitions. It's just such a great platform to, you know, tell our stories and, give people more information behind, what it is that we're building. So I appreciate you both and I'm really honored to be here. So, as Starah said, I am Nichole Healy. I am the co-founder and CEO of May. May is your memory management companion that transforms a digital footprint into a digital legacy. So, let me give you a little bit of background about me and May and why I'm here and what this is all about. So it really all began with my toddler asking me to see photos of himself when he was a baby. It was a very simple ask, and I actually had a panic moment in that moment when he asked me to see those photos. And it was because I didn't have them accessible. I didn't have them in a baby book. I didn't even have them on my phone at that point in time because they had been, scattered to a different hard drive. They were in different clouds. Like it was just everywhere. And the reason why I panicked is because I wasn't quite sure where they were. And I had good intentions. I really wanted to, cultivate and, create photo books and baby books and actually do something with our memories. But as things go, when you're a busy working parent, those kinds of things just fall to the end of the never ending to-do list, right? And so, his very sweet and innocent ask kind of sent me down this path. Well, if I can't find them, what does it mean for him when I'm no longer around, right? What does it mean for him to connect with the memories and the stories that we're leaving behind? If I can't find them, it means that he probably won't be able to find them either. And so I started going down this path. You know what? I'm really going to figure this out. There has got to be a better way. And we were just producing so many memories. So it wasn't just me, it was also my husband, right? I had, thousands and thousands of photos, and he had thousands and thousands of photos. So there was this centralizing process that needed to be figured out as well. Because, in order to tell the complete story, I want his photos just like I want my photos. So it was really this process of, what is the best way to manage all of this? And what is the best way? What are the things that I can do with our memories? And how can I prepare to hand them down in a meaningful way? So I started down that journey and I started doing all kinds of research. I started talking to a lot of my parent friends, and come to find out, I wasn't alone. There are a lot of families, a lot of moms. Now, it's not always mom. Sometimes it's the dad who is I call them the memory manager of the family. There are a lot of moms out there, parents out there that, we're trying to figure out the same thing. They were also feeling overwhelmed and they were also feeling extreme guilt. And that was super tragic to me because our memories should bring us joy. They should not induce anxiety and, feelings of guilt and all of that. They should, make us happy. It should be a time of connection with our family and with our friends and reminiscing in ways that, bring us even more joy. So, like I said, I started to dive in and I started doing research and I discovered something called a certified professional photo organizer, which, my friends, is an actual thing. Certified professional photo organizers work with people to organize not only their digital memories, but also their physical memories, because there is a wide amount, or there's a lot of people that have actual physical photographs that have been handed down to them from, past generations, right? But they also have this collection of digital assets as well. So a certified professional photo organizer works with people to first organize their collections and then put systems in place so they can manage that collection long term. We also work with people to curate their memories and then actually do something with them. So what I did specifically for about 3 years is I worked with families one-on-one to organize their digital photos specifically. And then I would help them get those memories curated and into high-end photo books so that they could tell their stories. The goal was to, work with them annually so that they were keeping up with that organization process, and then set them up so that they could do it on their own continuously. But then work with them annually to, create them a yearly photo book. And sometimes we would also pull out specific events, big events that might have occurred during that year, whether it was a wedding or a special trip, a special vacation, like whatever it may be, a special celebration that needed to be pulled out and told on its own. So I did that for about 3 years. And during that time, I was really collecting insights and important information that I could then transfer to what I believed needed to be a tech product to help people keep up with this without the help, contracting a certified professional photo organizer, because not everybody either wants to do that or can do that. So I wanted this management process and this curation process to be more accessible, and I wanted it to be active. Instead of being something that you do at the end of a year, I wanted it to be something that was happening either on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, but it was something that people were keeping up with so that it doesn't become overwhelming over time. Because that's the thing about our digital photos, is that we are taking them on a daily basis, which means that we need to keep up with it in a more active way. So what I did is I started thinking about the processes that I had put together for my clients. And I used that specialized insight to, start thinking about how I could productize the management process. And so this is how we came up with May. And so the journey really started when we were accepted into Techstars Atlanta. And we were accepted into that program pre-product, which means that we did not have May ready to go. But it was really the perfect time for us because we were able to work with mentors and, the other members of our cohort to really focus in on, how this product could be created and, where it could go and how I could take all of my specialized knowledge and then put it into something that can be super useful for families. So that's when we decided and landed on May being a memory companion or a memory assistant. May, in fact, it's spelled MAE, is an acronym for Memory Assistant Experience. She is very conversational. You can get in and, make a request and ask her to find the best photos of a particular event or a particular time frame. So a lot of requests are find the best photos of my trip to Hawaii in 2019. And so what happens is May pulls in only the photos that you want to curate. And then through a combination of AI, which is absolute magic, and a human eye, we find the very best photos. And we give each photo a what we call a memorableness score. And we're looking for things like, the framing of the photo, that making sure the photo is not blurry. We're making sure that there are, faces in the photo. We're making sure that in group photos, that everybody is looking at the camera and has a pleasant look on their face. But what we're really getting at here is we are curating down these massive collections to only the very best. And we are only concerned with the very best because we are wanting to actually do something with those memories. We're actively curating them, we're actively managing them, we're putting them into a digital timeline, and then we're also activating them into a physical photo product. And all of this is hands off for the user, meaning that we are using the curations that we're creating for the users. There's a collaboration process, of course, because curation is subjective. Like I had just mentioned, there might be a blurry photo that May would not choose, but it might have sentimental meaning to the user for whatever reason. And so there is this quick collaboration process where the user could then choose that photo and put it into their very best collection. After that curation is approved, we remove everything that didn't make the cut from our servers because, again, we are only concerned with the very best. We are not about storing everything because that is digital clutter, right? We don't want that. We want to tell your story. We want to make it meaningful, and we want to really pull out those meaningful parts. So what ends up happening in the end of this, once you are, doing this actively and you're doing this on a monthly basis, what ends up happening is you end up creating a curated and meaningful digital timeline that can be handed down to future generations. So your kids, your kids' kids, and beyond and beyond and beyond. And what really lights me up about this work is just that, is that we have a really unique opportunity to connect with future generations in ways never done before. And it is because, as we've already mentioned, it is so easy to take a photo. It is so easy to take a video. It is very easy to document all the moments of our lives, which means we have a vast amount of content. And again, it's why it needs to be managed. It needs to be curated and cultivated so that, in the here and now, in the present, as you're living life, you're enjoying your memories, but then also in the future, you're handing it down in a meaningful way. Your kids really can connect with and can understand not only their stories, but your story. And then that is a real gift, and one that I don't think people are really thinking through. And they are allowing their digital assets to just passively disappear into, the digital abyss, into their cloud. And it's not that they don't think it's important. It's just very overwhelming. Family life is already demanding, and they don't need another to do, which is why I've built May the way that I've built it. We are already producing those stories inside of our digital assets and inside of our digital footprint. And that not only encompasses our photos and our videos, but it's everything else that we are producing online that can tell our story. Our social media posts, our documents, our emails, our calendars, our to-do lists, our digital journals. There's so much content, and it's all very rich with our story. And that's why it's, super exciting to think about if we were able to cultivate all of those different aspects of our digital footprint into a meaningful digital legacy. We really do have this opportunity to, be remembered for a very long time in a way that, we just haven't been able to do before because it's so rich with story, right? And if we aren't asking parents to our families to create more content, and we are only taking what they are already creating in their daily lives and then moving that into something that is, contextual, has a narrative through line, and then can be passed down, it is more likely to happen. We're not asking them to create more content. We are simply taking what they're already creating and creating something meaningful from it. So I think that is very important for parents, obviously a parent myself. And so I knew going into this that that was going to be very important, that we cannot ask parents to do more, or it's just not going to happen. So that is really the magic of AI because, we can use technology in this way so that, we are producing something of value for the long term. So yeah, that's where we are with May right now. We're really looking forward to, thinking ahead. So that's what we're really excited about with May is to really think through the future of digital legacy management, how we can help parents hand down their digital memories in a very meaningful, intentional way. And so that's where we're going, and that's what we're really excited about with May. Thank you.
Well, yes. And especially coming from myself, which I love photos. I'm very
Hmm.
big on it, and it creates a different sense of, reflection, memories, and things you can look back on, especially
Hmm.
when we take so many photos because we don't want to miss anything. So we're like
Yeah.
taking photos of things. It's not until after the fact we're like, what was I trying to take a picture of?
Yeah.
But but it's really amazing in terms of looking back, even whether it's a month, years later, and just reflecting because you're
Hmm.
like, oh, I went here or we went to the special event. And then you start looking, you're like, oh, wait, I remember that. And then it really does connect it. And it makes it
Hmm.
so much more than just the event, the trip that you went on. You can really start like, and it's almost like you're almost enjoying those moments again, but you're by
Yeah.
just looking at them.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
And I also
Yeah.
feel like tagging on, it's really great in terms of even just taking looks at yearly moments. So you're just kind of
Hmm.
like, wait a second, I did all of this stuff and, like 2024, completely forgetting everything because of the day-to-day
Yeah.
situations that you're going through.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the process of reminiscing, right? That is, it's so important that active reflection. It not only, creates this like joy and enjoyment of your memories, but again, because we are taking so much, we tend to forget what we have created.
Mhm.
And so there's this active participation in that, like review. Oh, right.
Mm.
I actually did take that photo, or I actually did do that thing, and I had forgotten about that. And that's what's so great about curation and why I think it is so super important is because you're pulling out those important moments in your life instead of it just being this massive sea where it becomes like our brains don't work that way. Our human brains do not work that way. And we need it to be cut down so that we can actually absorb it in a meaningful way.
Exactly. And real quick, before I jump into the Q&A, because I have also been able to use May, and it was amazing
Mhm.
because, like I said, I was so excited to be
Thank
able
you.
to. It was a different aspect because even with like some of the phones, and they have some of like the auto things that curate different memories and things of that manner, sometimes I'll
Mhm.
go through and they don't either hit all of them or they kind of just picked random ones. Some of them may have been blurry, some of that they weren't like exact, where when I used the
Right.
curation for May, it specifically took out the ones that were like amazing. There were certain moments, there were moments I also forgot about, and I was like, ooh, I was like, wow. And it just made it be a little bit more easier. So I was like, oh, I know I didn't have to re-go back through my photos to see, oh, what was missing, because the one that was auto curated, kind of missed certain key things that I really wanted to focus on.
Yeah, I do feel like you hit the nail on the head on that one. There is something, you know, very, what's the word there has to be more to the curation process, more than just the metadata. Because what you're referring to is they are just simply pulling a group of photos based on maybe dates, based on a location, maybe based on, facial recognition. And there's not this emphasis on the story. It's more of just, oh, this has to go together. Like it's a categorization instead of a curation.
Yes, exactly. Which also leads me to my first question, which is I know you've worked closely with a lot of families when you guys created May, and
Mhm.
also to make sure you honed in on what was important. Throughout this process of May, what has been some of the feedback you have been getting from people who have used it, whether they were families,
Mhm.
parents? Because, like me, I'm not a parent yet, but
Mhm.
I take a lot of photos and I know a lot of people who like to cherish their memories. So, what are some of the feedback you're getting from people who are actively using it and
Mhm.
really what they're taking away from it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, for parents specifically, there is this phenomenon. I call them the parent paparazzi because they tend to, when you're taking photos of your children, you don't take just one photo of a moment, you take 10 photos of a moment. Especially for young children, they are wiggly, they're moving all over the place all the time. And so it's sort of this like spray and pray situation where you're just like taking the photo over and over again, hoping that you get a good one where they're actually looking at the camera and they're actually smiling. So for parents specifically, they're like, wow, like May was able to find the best photo from those 20 that I shot of my kids on the couch the other day. And that just brings them so much relief because they didn't have to. Like for parents especially, like every every photo seems precious. It really does. And I get it because all of those moments are super precious. And as our kids grow, those moments are fleeting, right? And so you feel like you need to capture it all, and it's all very important. But really, it's not all really important. What's important is pulling out the story and the best moments, right? So that you can really connect with that, not the 10 photos in a row and like your kids looking this way or whatever, or they're making a silly face, right? But it gives them relief because they didn't have to make the decision. So that's what I hear a lot. We have a lot of families and parents inside of May. We also have some other people like you, Tysheda, that are not parents, and that's great as well because you need help as well to curate all of your photos and to find the very best ones because you're taking a lot as well. But for parents specifically, I think, there's just this huge uptick of photo taking once those kids arrive because you're trying to document and you're trying to, really, solidify those moments that you feel are so fleeting because kids grow so fast, right? And so that's what I hear a lot is, oh, I feel so much relief because I didn't have to make that decision. And you really did find the very best one. And now I just feel, so much joy and I feel so organized. And now I feel like I can actually do something with all of that. So
Yeah. And
that's what I
and
hear.
honestly, that makes a big difference too, because first off, aside from the fact that kids grow up really fast, it's almost like everything they do, you're like, oh my goodness, let me take a picture. You
Mhm.
got like so many pictures of the same moment. They may not have even moved, but you just click it all, you
Exactly.
record it all. And a lot of them are good. Some of them are just like, I don't really need them, but you don't want to delete them. You just want to.
Correct.
So having something that can really capture it without you having the stress over maybe this one, maybe not this one is definitely amazing.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Also, like speaking of paranazis, which I do love that you coined that. How does May like?
Paparazzi.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yes.
Yes.
How does May balance privacy and security with the need for family members to access the shared memories?
So a couple of things. So we have a feature where users can invite specific family members to collaborate on a curation. So meaning that we are like the user will come in and they will say, okay, I want to curate all the best photos from like, let's just say January. Okay. But I also want my husband or my partner or my spouse to collaborate on that. So we are only pulling in the photos that they are requesting that we pull in. We also have filters in place, so we're not pulling in any documents, so photos of documents, because some people will take photos of, passports or driver's license or just random other documents that, first of all, we're not interested in those because obviously that's not really going to tell a memorable story. But we also have other filters in place to make sure that we're only pulling in photos that would, be important to, tell a family story. But again, we're not pulling in the whole camera roll, right? The user is very specific on what it is that they want to curate. And so we're only concerned with that. And so the collaborator also goes through the same filter processes. We're only pulling in those specific photos. We actually have date parameters on them. So if you say you only want to curate January, we're only pulling in January 1 through January 31st. And so that's one way that we're, making sure that all of the data is private. And then also, we have privacy, password protections and, all of the normal stuff, encryption, everything like that. So I hope that answers your question, Starah.
Yes. And
Good.
that's so good. And to try to kind of like piggyback off of that, for my next question, I wanted to find out, I know many entrepreneurs struggle with scaling. What challenges did you face while growing May, and how did you or are you still trying to overcome them?
So for us, the challenge is the challenge is scaling the curation and making sure, like I had mentioned earlier, that we have a combination of tech and a human eye, meaning the tech does the first pass. And then right now, because we're still optimizing our tech and we're still building and you're really trying to, optimize, there is that human QA element. So there's a human eye to make sure that we agree with what the tech is doing, right? And so that kind of slows down the process a little bit. So that is one of our biggest challenges is to scale that curation process and to optimize the tech so that we really trust it. And we're making sure that we're presenting to the user, everything that they want and more, right? To make sure that they're happy and that we're, really finding those best moments. So that's one thing. And then also, as a tech startup, there's the constant, battle and, thinking through of, fundraising and making sure that you have the funds to scale so that you reach your audience and that you are, able to invest in marketing and you're able to, invest in different channels so you can find your best channel that works the best for your business. But being able to have that capital as well to optimize the tech, to bring on the right team, is also a scaling challenge.
And even going into scaling and that journey of itself, just wanted to know, how did Techstars, which my husband's also part of the alumni, but
Amazing.
yeah, how did Techstars and the community that you gained through it refine Mission's vision and business model?
Yeah. So really, I know I mentioned, while I was talking through my story, how pivotal that was for us. I am not a technical founder, meaning I'm not the one behind the scenes writing the code. That is not my area of expertise. I am not a developer, so I really used the mentorship and the Techstars network to find those right people to help me build out my vision. And that was a really important thing, obviously, for us because we needed those people to build the thing. So that was really important. And then also, being able to, sit down on the daily with other people that are in the same boat that you are, or maybe they're just a little bit farther along to be able to pull from their wisdom as you are really starting out on your journey, I think is super, super important because we were able to say, okay, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about May being a chat interface? And, what might that look like? And what are the technical requirements there? And, that also was, super valuable for me because, I've never built a tech business before. So it was, super valuable to, to gain that wisdom and to, and just to throw things on the wall and say,
Mhm.
hey, like, have you had experience with this? And then, be able to apply that. I think it's just it's invaluable. And I feel so blessed and lucky to be a part of, the Techstars network
Yeah. And also, yeah,
for
a
sure.
very heavy emphasis on also just being able to like converse through like your issues and just really hone in
Yeah.
on what you want to get out of it as far as like May as a business and also just, throwing ideas on the wall, but also seeing which ones connect, which ones make sense, and then like continuing on top of that. So that's actually
Oh,
really
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
And honestly, like I said, what you've built is amazing, and the trajectory that it's going, it's offering so much, and it's being able to offer so much even to our next generation and things of that manner, so they can really pass down those memories. And I wanted to
Mhm.
find out from you, being a business owner, being all the different things you've done between business and accounting within the past 20 years, what has been the
Mhm.
biggest lesson that you've learned? And how has it shaped you to continuing to run May in the way that you want to?
Oh, wow. I have learned so many lessons. The biggest lesson that I have learned, I'd say it's around, the managing and collaborating with people. I think the biggest lesson there has been for me to allow people to really operate in and become their own genius, right? And to just allow them to do that and to give them the trust and the space and the autonomy to do the thing. We are a remote team, all of us. And so there's a whole lot of, trust you have in a remote team because we're all working on our own time, we're all in different time zones and we all have an objective and then we meet that objective and that really needs to be the what's the word the emphasis I think when you are managing a team. It's not about everybody can get things done in a different time frame. Like, one thing might take me a little bit longer, somebody else might be able to do it like that. And it's not about the amount of time that you give to something. It's the like, what are your results? What
Mhm.
is how efficient are you? And what are you producing? And I think that should be, for any team, that should be the North Star for that person in their position, in their role. And so I really focus on that when I'm leading a team, managing people. It's about letting them operate in their genius and, just letting them do their thing, but then also realizing they have a life outside of all of this. And if they can get something done in 30 minutes that takes you an hour and then they go and they want to live their life, great. Like I don't like this whole idea of our work being tied to the amount of time. You know what I mean? Like the 40-hour work week, I think is we just need to throw it out the window.
No,
So, yeah, go ahead. What were you
No,
gonna say?
I was going to say, like, I heavily agree with that. And I feel like that is one of the
Mm-hmm.
things, too, that really speaks to you as a leader as a whole, is just the ability of you to go, hey, I will delegate the task to the person who can best handle it. And then we go from there. So something
Yeah.
that could take me an hour, if it takes you 30 minutes, as long as it's done and we're all under the same, umbrella company. So
Yeah.
it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We all have the same goal. We
Yeah.
all we all want to, we're all on the same mission. I mean, that is
Yeah.
my job is to make sure that we're all on the same mission and we're all going the same way and the same direction and then we're building towards the same thing. And if we're all set on that and we have our marching orders, like let's go. And I think that is really how, a team thrives.
Yeah, and it just energizes you because you understand that there
Hmm.
is that trust level of, hey, I know you're gonna get it done. We'll just check back and do, like I completely forgot the name of it, but like where it's kind of like everyone just has that one meeting, the huddle basically. just to make
Oh
sure
yeah.
everything is going smoothly, and then we're going,
Yeah.
you go from there. I do have a question that kind of goes into like the legacy portion of it. So
Okay.
if
Bring
yeah,
it.
so because I really love, especially like the whole concept of May, like especially when it comes to like
Hmm.
basically passing down information and things like that. So on this question though, if someone passes away unexpectedly, what happens to their May
Hmm.
account and their digital memories?
Yeah, so we're working through all of that. So where we're going is we want to designate a digital executor, which is the person that would then be responsible for, making sure like wherever your digital assets are, so hopefully they're with May, that they are handled in the way that you wished before you passed away. So, when it comes to estate planning and, making sure that your will is in place and all of your wishes are, set out, right? That everybody knows, everybody is aware, right? It's going to be the same thing with your digital assets. And like I said, making sure that digital executor is named, they are the beneficiary, they will get access to your account, and then you will have set out what you want done with it and who also needs a copy of it, or, all of that. We will have all of that in place and it will be tied to your estate plan. So you can, make sure that whoever your lawyer is that is working on your estate plans knows about your May account. We will have all of that in place, and the steps that that person would need to take to get access to your account. So those are the types of features that we're going to be working on and make sure that they're in place as we, build out May.
I love that. Yeah, that's amazing because those are always those unexpected situations, but it's
Yeah.
something that you still know that your memories and everything that you have been working on is not lost or it's not forgotten, things of that manner.
Correct. Yeah.
And to add on to that, so if you could go back into time and tell
Hmm.
your younger self and give yourself one piece of advice that you wish you would have known back then, what would it be?
Hmm. The piece of advice that I would give myself is that, comparison is the enemy of progress, is the advice that I would give. I think, in my younger years, I was too concerned with what other people were doing or what, you know, where they were at in their career, or, again, just comparing myself to where they were at in their journey. And everybody's journey is different. Everybody's time frame is different. And it doesn't really matter. It's about getting clear on what it is that you want and then taking the small baby steps that you must take in order to get there. There are no shortcuts. There are no, yeah, you just have to go through it. And I also think, or at least in my experience, I have learned that, things happen sometimes in the way that they need to happen in order for you to learn that lesson. And, sometimes that's a mistake or a failure or whatever it might be. And I think embracing all of those is super important because that's how you learn. You take that with you and that becomes part of you and part of your experience. And it's something no one can take that away from you. It's just super invaluable. So that's probably what I would tell my younger self. I spent way too much time and wasted too much precious time on the comparison game. And it's just not useful. It's not productive.
No, and I agree with you with that because sometimes you also never know too where that person's story was. You don't know what they've been through, what they
Correct.
you may just see the outcome or how the success was there or how it's currently going, but you have no idea.
Hmm.
So it's kind of makes it where you're hard on yourself, but for it's like you don't even you realize I'm hard on myself for no reason because I have no idea what their story was.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love digging into someone's backstory. Like if someone just, a celebrity or, whoever it is, when they come out on the scene, right? And it seems like they've come all of a sudden, right? And you're like, where did this person come from? They must have just like had all of this luck and, they just did the thing and then they're just, have all of this success. And that's never the case. They have been grinding and
Yeah.
working and, taking different steps. And maybe their path went like this and then they found the thing, right?
Mhm.
But their path had to go like that in order to inform the thing that they're successful at.
Mhm.
And so I really love digging into people's stories like that, which is probably why I'm building May the way I'm building May. And why
Yes.
I feel like it's so important to, pull out the stories and, create this narrative through line. It's because I just find it so fascinating, this, that whole journey.
Yeah.
So
And I do like that you said that because that's exactly the same reason why Star and I created Authentic Ambitions because story and behind the scene, like being your authentic self and being who you are is everything. You don't have to put on a facade. Like it's okay if you went through struggles. It's okay if you had
Yeah.
failures. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That's life. But it's what you're
right.
doing and what you're accomplishing on the other side is what's so important behind it.
Yes, agree,
And also just
absolutely.
goes to the whole like iceberg analogy where it's like you just see like the
Yeah.
top of it and you're like, oh, it's a small little thing. And meanwhile, there's like so much work that happened behind the scenes and under. Yeah. So I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, I love the fact that
Yes.
you even brought that in. Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
And it's so true. It's so
mhm.
true.
And even going into that and just like everything else that you have going, like how do you envision May like evolving over the next, let's say like 5 years?
Oh gosh. Yeah. I see my big vision for May is, kind of what I just mentioned about, like digital legacy, assigning a digital executor. But really, like I almost think about, I'm sure I know you guys have seen it because we talked about this before, Minority Report, where, there's this like futuristic world in which, Tom Cruise was able to like enter those memories with his son because he was remembering him, and he has this video and it's sort of like a hologram, but there's like sort of this deeper interaction with memories. And, when I think big vision, I think about what could this digital timeline that is built over time, like what could it look like in 5 years with VR, right? How are we interacting with those memories? And how are we interacting with them like Minority Report? And how could we build May to, accommodate for that in the future? And I also love really thinking about, we are taking our memories and our human stories, and we're creating this narrative through line inside of, like, I like to call it the sacred timeline, right? How does that sacred timeline evolve and change and, become deeper and more meaningful over time? Because as humans, that's what's happening to us. We're evolving and changing, and we're learning new things and we're doing new things. And I would really love to think about how May can accommodate for that, and how it could really really be something super meaningful and big for people. That's what I see also.
No, that's very like just May as a whole is very forward thinking. So it's like we can't wait to just like keep watch of like how you do keep growing because of the fact that it is like the fact that you even thought of, hey, what happens in the future? And then again, going into like legacy and just going over, just passing down pictures instead of just like keeping it, for example, like nothing wrong with it, but like on Instagram and that's just the end of it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, someone else can actually like hold on to your memories and then you can keep showing it and progress. It's kind of like DNA sharing anyway. So,
Yeah. I really think about the interaction. How are we interacting with our digital memories in the future? And I think it only happens with this curation process that you're going through with May. It cannot be a bunch of digital clutter because it's just not going to be as meaningful, right? So if it's a curated collection, there's so much you can do with it at that point in time. So I just really love to think about, how are we interacting with it? And I think May is preparing for that, and
mhm.
is positioned in a way that we can really take advantage of that technology in the future. And so that's really exciting to me.
And now, actually, we're going to segue, even though, like, you gave us a lot of beautiful gems, like, one of the parts that we do want to know about you, which we
Mhm.
definitely ask our guests, is What's an interesting or unexpected fact about yourself?
Yeah. So an interesting fact about me is that I actually started out, I went to college for dance. I was a dance major at NYU, and I actually started dancing at the age of 2. My mom put me into my mom put me into ballet because I had turned in feet, and my doctor and my hips were kind of, doing this sort of thing. And my doctor was like, "Oh, you should put her into ballet. It would really help her kind of open those hips and her feet will turn out." Well, I mean, that was just the catalyst for a whole thing. So I stuck with it. I loved dancing, throughout elementary school, middle school, high school, and I got very serious, obviously, in high school. I was a ballet dancer originally, and then when I went to NYU, it was more, there's of course ballet, which is the foundation, but then I started doing more modern dance, and then what I really wanted to do was do musical theater, and so I got into that, and then I spent about, I don't know, 7, 8 years in New York just doing the audition thing, and trying to make it, and I had a couple of parts like summer stock and off Broadway and things like that. So nothing like super major. But when it came down to it, I was like, you know what? I think it's time. I was about 28 or so, and I was like, you know what? I think it's time to do something different. So I retired at 28, retired from dance and decided to, pursue business. And, that's where I get the rest of my background, my business background.
That is
That's
really cool.
amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
It's great
Thank
too
you.
because obviously even with dancing, it's very creative. It's very opening your
Mhm.
mind, which also you bring into May as well with the
Mhm.
creativity. So it all just flows. So
And I can just
Thank
imagine the
you.
pictures too that were taken like throughout
oh
this. So it's like, yeah, it's like you can easily
Yes.
see like the bridge.
yes.
Oh yeah. Yes. That's funny.
So, and with that being said, we definitely truly want to thank you. We appreciate your time and all of it. So, your
Yeah.
work with May, it's all been about helping people preserve their memories in a way that truly lasts. For those
Mhm.
watching who may not have thought about organizing their digital legacy before, what is your ask of them and how can they support you, take action, or even follow so they can kind of be supportive in May as well as helping for their legacy as well?
Sure. Yeah. Well, first, follow us, follow along. We're building exciting things. So follow us at May Memory Manager on Instagram. That's where we are a lot. But also, we are just starting our May premium subscription, and we are bringing on a small amount of people to help, to come in and be part of our legacy creators community and help us shape May for the future. And so you can get more information on that and join us at meet-may.com. And yeah, we would love to have you. I mean, that's the thing about doing this work is just starting. And the nice thing about May is your perfect guide for just starting, right? We're going to start you out, and then we're going to guide you down this path. We're going to guide you going forward, and we're going to guide you going back, meaning we're going to curate your past memories as well. And we're going to help you do that in a very organized, not overwhelming manner so that you feel accomplished and that you're getting those wins that you're looking for.
Cool, cool. And you know what, Nichole, thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, no. And for our audience, we hope you enjoyed this conversation and feel inspired by Nichole's mission to help families take control of their digital legacies, especially since, come on, it's 2025.
Yeah.
So, as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you never miss an episode or the chance to discover more inspiring founders. You'll find all the details, links, and ways to connect with not only us, but also Nichole and May in the bio. So be sure to check it out. And also feel free to drop a comment, share your thoughts, and let us know which topics or founders you'd love for us to feature next. So until next time, keep building, keep growing, and stay inspired.
Bye.
There is an art to living, and there is an art to being remembered. Life is about crafting a story, one full of purpose and connection and meaning. And just like any manifesto, our stories deserve to be told and handed over in intentional ways, not lost to time and neglect. Our digital footprints are rich and full of powerful story, which means we have a unique opportunity to connect with future generations in ways never done before. But here's the problem. Most of our memories, most of our stories are buried, scattered, even forgotten. And it's not because we don't care, we actually care quite deeply, but it's because life is demanding and it moves fast, and our photo libraries are a reflection of that speed, and they are a catch-all for the massive amount of content we're producing. Trust me, I have been there. This whole journey started because my son asked to see his baby photos, and I didn't have them accessible, nor could I find them easily. That moment made me think even bigger. If I'm struggling to find these memories now, how will he access them when I'm gone? How will he experience our stories if I'm not here to tell him? Will I really leave him a vast amount of digital clutter devoid of intention and meaning? That prospect was just tragic to me. That's why I built May, to make sure the stories that matter do not end up lost to a sea of digital clutter, but doesn't require adding a heavy burden to our already demanding lives. May helps you craft your personal digital legacy while you're living it, by transforming your digital footprint into a meaningful narrative. And we are starting in the most obvious place, your photos. Every month, May curates your very best photos to create your sacred timeline, which over time captures the stories and the memories and the legacy you want to leave behind. This is the practice of legacy crafting, the mindful creation of a family's lasting story. And with May's help, it's no longer daunting or overwhelming. This is your invitation to join us, to become a legacy creator, one of the very first 200 families to help us shape this movement. Because, my friends, it is time. It is time to take a stand and break the cycle that allows our memories to disappear into our clouds and die on our devices. We need you to grab your spot with all of the introductory perks today. Plus, I promise you will actually get to enjoy your memories in the process. You're already writing your life story. The question is, who will remember it? Together, let's make our memories matter more.